Hello to all viewers, I'm Sam Phoenix with the Edison Writing Center, and right now we're going to look at time management and working on an APEC style essay, specifically for the IB History of the Americas class. As the previous part of this screencast has shown you how to write your outline, we're going to focus on the actual writing of your essay in class, mostly planning it out. It may seem like a daunting task to have to write an entire 5-paragraph essay in 50 minutes, but not to worry. Good time management skills, planning, thorough outlines, you can have this done in no time. So, first things first, let's look at your essay. Now, as soon as you get your essay, why don't you begin writing your name on it? Easy enough, you've got 2 words down already. 3 if you want to put your middle name and be really fancy about it. Next you can put things like the date and maybe your teacher name, whatever is preferred by your teacher. Now, let's move on to the actual essay-related things. Again, the screencast will mostly be aimed towards the essays in the IB History of the Americas, but this can also be applicable to any APEC essays you may write throughout your prestigious writing career. Anyways, back on topic, remember those awesome outlines that you made that you hopefully didn't just scribble down the night before? You have a great resource by your side because you've practically written down your entire essay before you even got in the room. I mean, check this out. Look at this. And now is the time to envy all of your friends who have the incredible muscle memory of remembering exactly what they wrote down. But fear not. It's actually pretty good to not remember your outlines verbatim. That way, you can really see that you're learning when you begin your planning. First, let's begin with the planning stage. So once you know what question you're working on, try your best to remember your outline. What were each of your assertions, and what were your proofs for each one? Here's a pair of tips that might help you on testing day. First, we can do what we call in IB English a brain dump. Basically, in the corner of your test, as soon as you receive it, you can write down some keywords that might help you when the essay rolls by. Maybe the name of a historian like McPherson, or maybe what the historian said. Maybe what the historian said, like when Molotov talks about what happens to Berlin happens. So what happens to Berlin happens to Germany. Basically, use whatever helps you out. The second way works if you have a test prior to your essay, which happens occasionally. When working on the test, if you can find some key details on the test that will help you write your essay, you can definitely use that as a reference, or if you have to turn in your test, make a mental note of that date/person/historian. It will really help you out. It can be one of your proofs even. Okay, so now let's shift back to the actual writing of your essay. So remember, spend the first 5 minutes or so just preparing by recreating a very simple version of your outline. Let's go back and look at that. Okay. Now, your spontaneous outline does not have to be as detailed as your actual outline. I mean, just look at this. This is too much. You probably won't have time to write all of this. What you should do is write in a way that will help you understand it best. Feel free to pause this video if you want to look at the outline. So, for example, in assertion 1 of my outline, I wrote down in the Spanish colonies, peninsulares were viceroys, and also how instructing these viceroys were the Council of the Indies in Spain. Now, that took like maybe 20 seconds to write, and I was typing it too. So basically, just imagine how long that would take to write out completely. Instead, I should have used the keywords that I still understand and save the formality for my essay. I could write, instead of all of this, proof, Spanish colonies controlled by viceroys, and viceroys are controlled by the Council of the Indies in Spain. Now, whatever works for you. So just to reiterate, you do this for about 5 minutes, so you know exactly what you're writing about when you begin the essay. So about 5 minutes later, it's time to begin your essay. You shouldn't even really spend 5 minutes on your intro. Just write down the universal hook that you thought up of during your outline. Just to refresh your memory, since the majority, if not all, of your essays take place during the same time period. Your hook and context should be very similar among your outlines. So, for example, let's say if I were writing and comparing the Spanish Empire and the British Empire, I could say the Americas, as we know them today, were initially settled by two very different countries. You don't have to make your hook so complicated or so super long, just make it short and to the point. Alright, for the sake of time, we're not going to write out the rest, but next comes your thesis, and then you're pretty much done. How fast was that? So next, use the outlines in your head and your paper as a guide. Start writing your essay. Remember those short words I told you to write down for your makeshift outline? Maybe some dates that you use or some historians you want to bring up. Well, now's the time to really show off your writing style and really be elaborate with what you're talking about. So, for example, here we have politically the Spanish were much stricter in their rule than the British. In the Spanish colonies, peninsulares, or those who were born on the Iberian Peninsula and mainland Spain that lived in the colonies, were able to be viceroys of the colonies. So now basically we've gone from just saying that peninsulares were viceroys to writing out this entire thing for your essay. So you want to be sure to hit on all the key terms and all the points that you made in your outline. What you want to do is you want to plan to spend no more than about 10 minutes on each of your body paragraphs. Don't feel like you have to be super extra explanatory. Once you've hit all three of your key proofs and used all the HOA words you can, wrap it up and move on. By the way, make sure you tie it back into your thesis. And then before you know it, you're going to have all three of your body paragraphs done. Maybe a sore hand, to go along with it. It does kind of hurt to write a lot. All that's left now is your conclusion. Oh, but wait, what's that? You didn't outline one? Well, that's okay. You just restate all of your points, you spend about a sentence per assertion, and then you wrap it up by proving your thesis. What are you concluding from proving based on your writing? Let's say that, for this potential essay topic that I actually didn't really write about, I just presented the reasons that likely resulted in Spain's empire lasting much longer than the British. Probably something to do with political, like I started there, maybe economically, and maybe socially. My conclusion could be, so from this, it can be concluded that the British and Spanish had great differences in colonial policies, which is likely what resulted in Spain's empire lasting much longer than the British's. So now, once you're kind of done with that, your final concluding statement that just wraps up everything you say, if you have extra time, you can always go back and proofread what you have. Make sure your sentences flow really well, and that you've talked about all that you wanted to, hit on all your key points. All you gotta do now is turn that essay in, and sit back and watch as your classmates give you a really stunned look for writing the entire essay in the time limit. Awesome, right?